Hello everyone, my name is Marta Lloret-Llinares and I work at the EMBL-EBI training team. I'll present the EMBL-EBI Competency Hub, a tool to support training design and professional development. The EMBL-EBI Competency Hub has been built as a sustainable home for competency frameworks. Here you can see the landing page of the site, where there are 9 competency frameworks available and where you can assess your competencies against a professional standard, design training courses and programs, or find relevant training resources. In this presentation, I will tell you a bit more about the Competency Hub, and for this, I'll start with an introduction about competencies. Then I'll present the Competency Hub and what you can do with it. Then I'll tell you how we have been working with a competency-based approach to design the Permit COE training program. And at the end of the presentation, I'll tell you about how we work on the development of the Competency Hub. A competency is an observable ability of any professional, and it integrates multiple components such as knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Competencies for specific groups of professionals can be grouped together in a competency framework. And when we work with competencies and competency-based approaches, the key aspects of this are that competencies are observable, so they can be validated objectively. And then the evidence of competence can be collected in a competency portfolio, for example, and competencies are shared currency within a group of professionals. So you can say, I'm competent in X or Z, and that will be understood within that group of professionals. This is an example of a competency. Use data science methods suitable for the size and complexity of the data. And then to add more detail to this competency, it has these elements: knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And here there are 2 examples of each one. So knowledge could be appropriate statistics in the context of bioinformatics and life science data analysis. A skill would be identifies and defines appropriate computing infrastructure requirements for the analysis of the data. And an attitude would be recognizes own limitations and consults experts when required. On this slide, there are 2 of each, but usually in the competency frameworks that we contribute to develop, there are between 3 and 6 of each of these elements. Competencies can be used for a variety of things, such as course development, career development, and staff hiring. So the competencies can help you determine what content to include in a course or in a course program, and to pitch it at the right level, and how to write learning outcomes based on these competencies. They can also be used in career development, in continuing professional development, or in annual appraisals at a workplace. And they can also help you deciding on your new hire, so which competencies does your team need. We are using these competencies and competency-based approaches to design our training and our training programs. And this means that we are involved in the development of several competency frameworks. And this drove us to developing the EMBL-EBI Competency Hub as a home for these competency frameworks, as a site where we could show this work that we have been doing, and we can make it available to the community so that everybody can benefit from it. The Competency Hub currently contains 9 competency frameworks for computational biology, including computational biomolecular research and personalized medicine. It also has frameworks for several professionals within research infrastructures, for data stewards, and for professionals working with genomics or other types of clinical human data. All the frameworks in the Competency Hub include the list of competencies, which is the basis of this of the competency framework. You can go there to the page and explore these competencies, and then these ones, if they have knowledge, skills, and attitudes, when you click on them, you will see the full data associated to each competency. And then in some of the competency frameworks, we also have some other information that is used to enrich the competency framework and that it's always associated to the competencies. So we have some career profiles associated to these competencies that can help you understand which ones are relevant for each job or each role. And then there are also some training resources that come associated with the competencies they contribute to develop. And when you click on the training resource, you will have some information about it and the link to the page of the training resource. So I invite you to explore the Competency Hub on your own, but now and then find out what is the best use you can do of it. But now I will show you how we have used the competency-based approach in the design of the Permet COE training program. Permet COE is the HPC Exascale Center of Excellence for Personalized Medicine in Europe, and its main objective is to scale up the software for sales simulations to the present HPC or Exascale systems. But apart from scaling up the software, if we want that it's used within the community and that in the end it is used for personalized medicine, we need that the biomedical professionals can use the software, so we need to train them. And for this, we have developed a competency-based training program so that we are sure that the training program focuses on the abilities and the knowledge that is required for these professionals to be able to use the software. So the first step to create this training program was to define the competencies that were required. And for this, we started from some other related competency frameworks that we knew would have relevant competencies for the Permet COE community, and those are the ISMB 1 and the BioExcel 1. And with this as a basis, we created a working group from technical experts within Permet COE, and we worked on defining these competencies. We ended up having 19 competencies grouped in 3 domains, depending on what they are related to. So we have 7 competencies that are computational personalized medicine, 7 computing competencies, and 5 parallel computing competencies. And all these competencies have knowledge, skills, and attitudes. They are all in the Competency Hub right now, and this is a screenshot of the computational personalized medicine competencies, such as apply expertise in medical or biomedical sciences. And during the process of creating this competency framework, it was also very useful to upload some draft version in the Competency Hub so that we can share the link with the Permet COE experts and they could give us input on these competencies, and that's how we developed the framework. But this framework contains all the competencies that we consider relevant within this community, but it might be that different professionals within it will have different competencies and they will have different training needs. So for example, it's not going to be the same what clinical practitioners or biomedical researchers know and what they need than what bioinformaticians or software developers need. So to understand better these differences, we created some career profiles, again with the help of the technical experts within the consortium. And these profiles look like this in the Competency Hub. So we have a description of the qualification and background of this persona. So it's not a real person, it's a kind of a model persona, but it's based in real people. And then there are some activities of the role of this persona. And then below these descriptions, there is the list of competencies in the Permet COE competency profile related to the level at which this competency is required for this specific role. And these levels are awareness, working knowledge, and specialist knowledge. Understanding this for each of the different profiles can help us define the target audience for some specific courses and which content to include and at which level. So for example, here Marian is already working in computational systems biology, so it already has a certain understanding on how programs, software can run cell simulations. So when we design a course for this audience, we will need to start at a certain level that is not completely basic. While if we were working with molecular biologists that have never used simulations, we will have to start at a more introductory level. So with all this information that we gather when building the competency framework and the career profiles, we did a training needs analysis, and the conclusions of this training needs analysis was that the main topics to include in our training plan were modeling, HPC, and advanced programming skills. But of course, for the different types of profiles within the community, these topics will be taught in a different way, and also there will be different subtopics within them. For example, as we said, a molecular biologist that has never used cell simulations will need to start with background knowledge of cell modeling. And then for some people, it will be very important to teach them what modeling offers, for example, to researchers or clinicians. While for the people who are going to be working with the tools and performing the simulations, what will be important is to give them a more in-depth training about how to use these tools and how to analyze the results. So all this information was used to develop the training plan, the Permet COE training plan. And we also took into account which courses are already available in order to prioritize the ones that we would develop within the consortium. So this is an example of how we are working with a competency-based approach. And now in the last few minutes of this presentation, I would like to tell you about how we work in the development of the EMBL-EBI Competency Hub. So the core team working on this is composed of members of the EMBL-EBI training team and the web development team. And we organize the work in 2 weeks sprints, where we focus on a specific goal that will be in relation to an addition or an improvement on the site. And these are some examples here on this slide. So career profiles, learning pathways, the landing page, or changing or improving it, or how to improve the user journey in some specific sections of the site. Then at the end of those 2 weeks, we have a demo with different stakeholders of the Competency Hub, and we show them the progress done in those 2 weeks, and we receive their input, their suggestions, and their feedback on the site. But in addition to this, we also do user feedback sessions, and this can be run during the sprint, during the 2 weeks sprint, or in between sprints, if we want to meet some people and see how they work with some parts of the site. So for these sessions, we pair each user with one of us, one of the people in the team, in the development team, and then we give them some general instructions. It could be you're trying to look for training that is relevant in your career, and then we give them a link and tell them to go through that link and interact with the page while thinking aloud, so that we can understand what are their thoughts, which things are clear on the site, which are not. And then we can also ask them some specific questions. Here I'm going to show you an example about when we developed the learning pathway functionality in the Competency Hub. These learning pathways are collections of training resources that can help you overcome a specific challenge or learn about a specific topic. This is the front page that we have now on the learning pathway. And we have this blue square here that is something you need to click to start the pathway. And then in this pathway, we had also included a schematic representation of the pathway, which the training resources that it includes and the order in which you should take them. And these were also in blue squares. So some of the users that participated in that feedback session thought they were interactive buttons and they could click on them to go to the training resource, but this was not the case. This was just meant to be a summary image of the pathway. And after receiving this feedback, we decided to change it to this black and white image where it's harder that there's any confusion and it's more clear that it's just a schematic representation of the pathway. So this is still work in progress. I mean, we continue developing the site, we continue improving the site, and we have some ideas of what to do next, such as add more connection to training resources from different pages on the site, because we know that some of the users are very interested in training resources. Then we would like to show some information across frameworks. So the frameworks right now work as independent silos, but sometimes you might have a bioinformatics career, a bioinformatician career profile in one of them and in another one, and in a way you don't see that both of them are there. So we want to try to connect those a bit more, and then we want to also make the site more user-friendly. So for all these and for other things that you might think about, we would like to hear your feedback. So just go explore the site and let us know what you think, and send us any suggestions that you have, because we are happy to implement suggestions from the users. So you can contact us on the competency email or on my personal email. Thank you very much for your attention in this talk. And I would like to thank everybody that has been involved in the development of the site, and also the people who have been involved in the development of the different competency frameworks that are included in the Competency Hub. So thank you very much to the EMBL-EBI training team and web development team, the ISMB Competencies Working Group, Permit COE, and BioExcel. And I'm happy to take questions. Thank you.